Welcome to the Fair Housing Insiders. We are so thankful that you joined us. And please remember to subscribe here on our YouTube channel or follow and like us on your favorite social media outlet, which you can find links to in our show notes for even more fair housing news and insights. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fair Housing Insiders episode 102. Today, we are focusing on part 6 of our Is It a Disability series, and today's topic is on chemical sensitivities. I'm your host, Jonathan Sarr, and joined with us today is Leslie Tucker. Thank you for being on the show, Leslie. We look forward to your insights on this topic. So give us an overview. Is chemical sensitivity a disability?
Well, Jonathan, when looking at it in the context of being categorized as a disability, chemical sensitivity is actually a lot like allergies. Like allergies, chemical sensitivity can certainly be a disability if it substantially impairs one or more major life activities. That's the definition of disability under the Fair Housing Act. However, someone's reaction when exposed to chemicals could also be fairly minor. Maybe, a rash or something like that, and it may not rise to the level of a disability. Either way, sensitivity to chemicals is generally not, something that's observable to you or to a manager or a parent. So you're not going to know if someone's impairment does rise to the level of a disability unless you verify that with a healthcare provider. And even though we're kind of talking about whether something is, severe enough or the nature of the impairment, you cannot ask the healthcare provider to describe the nature or severity of someone's condition. So be aware of that. You can only provide them, with the Fair Housing Act definition of disability and ask the healthcare provider whether the person's condition rises to the level of disability.
Okay, very good. So it sounds like this is where the Fair Housing Act and HIPAA shake hands on this particular topic. All right, very good. So thank you for that overview. So to help our audience out, let's look at a scenario to help us see like what would typically happen on site, and then we'll get your comments on it.
Taylor, did you drop those accommodation forms for Mrs. Singh to fill out?
Yes, and get this. She says she has multiple chemical sensitivity, but when I went into her apartment, she had diffusers with essential oils running, and she has 2 cats. How can she have all of these sensitivities with pets and essential oils? I think she's lying.
Okay. Excellent scenario, very realistic situation. So what do you think, Leslie? How should the property manager handle this situation?
Well, this sounds like a fairly common scenario and one that I hear quite a bit from clients. So the property manager, may be skeptical in this situation, but that can't get in the way of management processing the request for a reasonable accommodation. When an applicant or a resident claims to have allergies or to have chemical sensitivities, one thing that they can do to be more thorough in the verification is to make the verifier aware of conditions that maybe they don't already know about. In this scenario, the resident may be having a reaction to her own surroundings, like her oil diffuser or her cat litter. Maybe sometimes a resident's apartment smells like they've been smoking. That would also be, some irrelevant observation for a verifier to be aware of. So asking a verifier if, these other issues may be affecting or causing the resident's symptoms, it's a good first step in figuring out, whether the resident's request is actually necessary, whether there may be alternative options to explore as well. However, if this resident's verifier confirms that the resident is disabled and that the accommodation they've requested is necessary, management may need to approve it, whether they are skeptical or not. Of course, it depends on various factors about what the resident is actually asking for, in order to determine if it's something that management can reasonably implement. Not every request is going to be reasonable, of course, but just be aware. I guess to take away from this is skepticism isn't a strong defense to a fair housing complaint if the verifier is aware of all the factors at play and still confirms the need for an accommodation.
Understood. Thank you. So, good scenario, and I'm sure our audience appreciated not only that, but your explanation of it. This has been an important topic, one that's has in line with the topic, not trying to sound like I have a bad dad joke, but sensitivity to it for sure, and how you handle it and the questions that you ask. So thank you, Leslie, for your insights. This has been another great topic, and focusing today on Is It a Disability? Part 6. We focused on chemical sensitivities. So thank you, Leslie, for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate you as our amazing community. We look forward to next time. Take care, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to hear your feedback about today's episode. Do you have a topic that you would like to see discussed in a future episode? Feel free to share that with us. In the show notes, you'll see a link to sign up for our newsletter. This newsletter will keep you up to date with our latest episodes, blogs, and information about our online fair housing courses. Thank you again, and happy training.